All right, got Bonnie on the lift, and if you noticed, when it was on the ground outside, rear end set kind of high, and I was curious what was going on. We'll get to that in a second. So, this car is actually very solid underneath. So, a couple of things that we were looking at, a little bit of surface rust, but for a Wisconsin car, not bad. We're dealing with a factory catalytic converter. The heat shield actually fell off when we were picking up the car. I had mentioned that it seemed kind of loud, and well, there's a hole there in the exhaust pipe, and I think something's missing here. Looks like it doesn't have a muffler on it. It must have rotted off. But the floors are very solid. The frame is solid. It's actually a really nice shape for, like I said, being a Midwest car. One of the downsides here is if you ever see this transmission with this pan and it says metric stamped in it and it sort of looks like a turbo 350, it's really not. This is the TH200. They call it the metric trans. It's kind of the weaker version of the turbo 350. A turbo 350 will actually drop right into place with this. It'd be a direct replacement. They're kind of known for losing reverse, and they're just not the strongest transmission. But like I said, a turbo 350 will go directly in its place. Other than that, it seems like it's in really nice original condition. Yeah, it's not bad at all. Going back here, so one of the things that we did notice, it has cargo coils, and usually I call them cargo coils. It's usually what they were called. You can tell because the coils get tighter towards the top. And basically, it's kind of supposed to be, as the suspension compresses from a load, it's supposed to have a higher spring rate to keep the car from squatting in the back. But they tend to actually raise the rear of the car a little bit, and that's probably what's going on. That's why it's kind of got a rake to it when it's when it's sitting on the ground. But you can see here these rear quarter panels and everything are actually in just really good shape. Frame's in good shape. The inside of the bumper is in good shape. I was going to drain the gas tank and drain out all the bad gas in it, but I think it's already empty. I don't know how I made it home. Had just enough to get home, but the gas gauge, I think it was reading very full, because it looks like this is the ground for the sensor, for the sending unit. So it's looking a little sad there. So we're gonna take that off, clean it off real good, and see if that makes the gauge more accurate, and we'll put some fresh gas in it and see if that helps out. Unfortunately, it does not have a limited slip differential. It just has an open differential in it. What I want to do is actually put the car in neutral, and we'll try to guesstimate the rear axle ratio by counting the turns of the drive shaft in relation to how many times the tire turns. Now, being that it's not a posi or limited slip differential, we'll have to make sure that both tires are turning in the correct direction when we're trying to count that, because if only one tire turns, that means you're going through the differential gears, and that's going to screw up your ratio, or trying to calculate your ratio. So we have the fender skirts off, which still not bad. little bit of surface rust around the wheel openings, but yeah, it's still a very solid car. We got the skirts off because we're going to take the wheels off. These wheels are going to be used as rollers for somebody else's car while we have the wheels refurbished on a Trans Am. I've got some wheels that I just picked up for this car, and I can't wait to show them to you. So we're going to go over to the truck and show you what we got. So this is what we ended up picking up. These are American Racing Torque Thrust Originals, TTOs. And what makes them the original version is that these spokes are not curved. This spoke is actually straight. So there was the Torque Thrust Ds, which originally came out first as a reproduction wheel from American Racing, where the spoke was actually curved. And that was, like, I guess back in the day, that was to clear disc brakes. Then not too long ago they came out with the Torque Thrust Original, which was the straight spoke. I guess the straight spoke was first back in the 60s, and then when disc brakes came out on Corvettes and stuff, they made the Torque Thrust D to clear the calipers. So we picked these up off of Facebook Marketplace. They have a staggered tire size, 225/70 on the back, two 15/70s up front. Uniroyal Tiger Paw tires. They got a lot of tread on them, but they are kind of old. They're starting to get pretty dried out, but still better than what was on the car. So we're going to slap these on there. We picked them up pretty cheap, and they're in excellent condition. I don't think they have very many miles on them at all. So we're going to slap these on and see what they look like. Alright, so we've been doing some work to the Bonneville off camera. I'm going to show you what we got done so far, so check it out here. Alright, so what we've done so far is new mechanical fuel pump that you cannot see. New mechanical fuel pump, new upper radiator hose, replace the thermostat and gasket. On this side, let's see, we've got a new radiator in it. This is just a replacement aluminum core plastic tank radiator. In the process of moving one of the transmission cooler lines, I put a pinhole in it and then made a nice geyser spray up to the windshield. So we had to replace a part of the transmission cooler line. New lower radiator hose. All that's good. And bled the coolant, fired it up, got it bled. It's working really well. Car runs amazing. So we got that much of it done. I still want to go through and rebuild, go through the carburetor, but it's been running really good lately. I mean, it no longer has accelerator pump issues. I don't know if fresh gas has helped it out. I mean, it's just spot on, when it's running and driving. Throttle response is good. I haven't done a tune-up to it yet. I have new tune-up stuff, spark plug wires and spark plugs, cap and rotor, that I haven't even put on yet. And I've driven it a little bit, kind of run some errands with it and stuff. Other things that we've done, brakes, we put new front calipers on it, new hoses, bled the brakes. They had a broken spring in the right rear brake drum, put new hardware back there, but the rear brakes were in great shape. Now no more locked up caliper or anything, but the biggest change, of course, we put the wheels on it. So here you can see we got the new calipers on, new pads. We left the rotors as is. They've cleaned up nice just from using the brakes. But the wheels really transformed the car, in my opinion. I like to leave the caps off on the rears, kind of giving it a classic old school look. Left the rear skirts off of it because honestly I don't think they're going to clear the tire, and plus I don't think these tires would look very good, or these wheels wouldn't look all that great with skirts, the fender skirts on it. So like I said, kind of been driving it around, short distances, making sure everything's good, throws heat nice. Actually the cruise control works, which I found amazing. Even the windshield squirters work. The only thing is that they accidentally come on when you turn on the wipers. They just automatically start squirting the windshield. Rear defogger does not work. We did go into the interior here and kind of cut the headliner out of it and kind of vacuumed up all the nasty foam that was up there. So the board's still up in there, but for right now at least it's drivable so that the headliner is not hitting you in the head and causing problems, and you roll on the window, it's flapping at you. I went and was doing some stuff, and I went and moved the ashtray, and it actually, the front plastic trim broke off. So the little tab on the side broke. What I'd like to do is I picked up some cheap gauges off of Amazon, and I want to actually mount, put some gauges in it so I can kind of monitor what's going on. I'm thinking about possibly mounting this where the ashtray was, or at least the handle was. Now, this was a 3-gauge set, and I took out the voltage gauge that was over here, and I found this really small tachometer that fit in place. So I'd like to get those wired up in there.
These are all electric gauges, they're not mechanical, so I don't have to run an oil line to the oil pressure. It's actually got an electric sending unit, and of course same thing with the temp gauge is electric too. I already put the temp sending unit in the cylinder head because I had the coolant drained out of it for the radiator. So we're gonna at some point wire that stuff up. There's the voltage gauge that I took out, but yeah, maybe at some point we'll put that stuff in there. But so far it is a blast to drive. I mean, it goes straight down the road, it runs super sweet. I mean, coming to a stop, you can barely tell it's idling. You know, we got the patina going on the on the paint. Not sure where I'm gonna go with this. Probably maybe at some point next year, maybe do some exhaust stuff, take the cat off at some point, and maybe make up some kind of a freer flowing exhaust to try out. You definitely want to probably at least inspect the carb and make sure that the float and everything is in good shape. But really, what I'm really dying to know is this a 4-barrel intake manifold underneath this Rochester dual jet? That's the bigger question, because if it is a 4-barrel intake, I'd like to put a 4-barrel on it at some point just to see if there is a performance gain or not. But for right now, I'm really enjoying it. I'd like to polish up the bumpers, you know, a little steel wool and some rubbing compound will probably clean them up a lot more. Needs a windshield, we're still going to do that yet. You know, I'd like to clean up the chrome on the bottom of the rocker panels and stuff. I'm thinking of how I want to kind of preserve the patina on the hood, roof, and trunk and stuff. I don't want to just clear coat over it. I'm trying to think of something I can do by hand. Maybe put some urethane clear over it by hand, or even doing some kind of just protectant over it, not necessarily a paint. I know that Derek over at Vice Grip Garage has some different stuff. I've heard of some people using linseed oil on top of it. I know I saw one of his Derek's episodes, he was using some kind of, it looked like urethane clear that he was putting on with a rag instead of, I actually kind of thought about future floor acrylic and putting that on with a foam brush or something, but we'll see. I don't know, maybe we'll experiment. It's not like you're gonna ruin the paint. So, but yeah, until next time, we'll probably end it there. So right now we're just gonna drive it and enjoy it. So thanks for watching, guys, and we'll catch you next time.